Right, episode 21. Nick Durst, joined again by Joe Calabrese and Joe. It's a big week here in New York, but overall it's a big week here in the United States of America. 4th of July, your birthday, and of course, the main event on the 4th of July would be the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. And it's going to be a little different this year, Joe, because they're not going to be at Nathan's in Brooklyn. They're going to be at an undisclosed location somewhere in New York indoors. And then you have the news today that comes out that Governor Cuomo has informed, not necessarily the competitors, but just anybody coming into New York. If you're coming from Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, California, Florida, Georgia, Indianapolis, Iowa, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Nevada, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, or Utah, you must self-quarantine for 14 days. So Joey Chestnut, who is obviously the favorite here to certainly repeat and be the winner again, he's looking to perhaps set a better world record because he's not going to have to deal with any heat. He's going to be indoor. It'll be air-conditioned, so there's good weather for him there with good conditions. He said, this is not good news for some of the biggest competitors that aren't already in New York. He's been in New York a while. You know he was not going to miss this, and we'll get to some betting odds on that soon. But Joe, what are your thoughts on this prestigious competition, which may look very different this year, not only from atmosphere perspective, but from competitors?
First off, I want to say thank you for the early birthday shout out. I appreciate that a lot.
You and the big dog, Roman Reigns, as well.
I know. My birthday kind of gets. I wouldn't say it gets put on the back burner. It's just very, very hard to get people together. Obviously, a lot of people are with their families that day. A lot of people are doing barbecues with their friends. A lot of people are out at the beach, maybe on vacation. Maybe they take a long weekend somewhere. So I appreciate that first. Also, you kind of rattled off those states pretty quickly. I was very, very impressed. About 25% of all U.S. states, roughly. So, yeah, Governor Andrew Cuomo put in that kind of mandated self-quarantine policy to a lot of people that are coming from those areas, right? Which, I mean, if you think about it logically, one would assume that maybe some competitors are going to fly elsewhere first to a state that's not under that. I don't know if that's...
It's got to go by license. And I want to correct myself. I said the big dog Roman Reigns, he shares a birthday with me. You share a birthday with, obviously George Steinbrenner, Calvin Coolidge, Malia Obama, Post Malone, and most importantly, Mike the Situation Sorrentino. Just wanted to clarify that. But yeah, with the competition, it's going to be really interesting here. And is Joey Chestnut the favorite to win? Yes, minus 1750 to pick him, and I don't see why you would bet anybody else, especially with there not being heat or anything. You then, of course, have the men's winner usually eats around at least 70. Joe, you going over or under 72.5 hot dogs this year?
I'm going to go under.
Ooh.
I'm going to go under because I feel like this number goes up every single year, and he's hit the 70 mark previously. I think he'll hit 70 again. I think 73 is going to be very, very hard to accomplish. The last time we saw a prominent 73 was when Barry Bonds took the home run title back in 2001. So it's a difficult number. It's a high number. I don't think it's too high, but I'm going to go under because you're going to be a winner until you're not. And what I'm very, very curious to see is what you mentioned previously. Obviously, they're going to have this in an undisclosed location. The truth of the matter is part of what makes the hot dog eating contest such an American staple, kind of like how the Thanksgiving Day parade is, around that time of the year, is the backdrop. It's the location. It's Coney Island. It's by the beach. It's by the famous Nathan's. The scenery is always tremendous. You always have a really, really, really great crowd out for the 4th of July and the hot dog eating contest. No matter what year it is, the weather could be perfect or the weather can kind of be a little off, and you'll usually see a lot of people. And that's part of what makes that so special, and kind of having it in an undisclosed location where the competitors are probably distanced. You're probably not going to have fans in attendance, one would assume. It's probably just going to be a camera panned on them, and I don't know. It's going to be a little odd to watch, especially with the distancing stuff. They're going to have solo cameras on each competitor. It's gonna feel very, very off.
There's going to be no. Well, here's the thing. I'm going over. I think Chestnut's
going to go over.
Chestnut's going to push 80. I think he's going to be in the 76 to 78 range. And I think this is because he's going to have nobody around him. There's nobody like intimidating or anything. Indoor air conditioning. It's going to be easy conditions to eat, nice, comfortable in there. And I think I'm going over 72.5. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be close to accurate on that. And I believe, there is a reason why this show is called You Know I'm Right. And I'm going over. I think Chestnut either comes close to or surpasses his record. And we can look back on our episode next week and say, wow, you know what? Nick was right. And I also got to look back now on another previous episode that we're right about. And Joe, that is Cam Newton is now a New England Patriot.
I think we got that one pretty spot on, didn't we?
I think so. We were talking Jarrett Stidham with Anthony Gallo, who was on the show with us. We also talked some Patriots on our NFL draft special with our expert, Michael Rochman. And Cam Newton to the Patriots. I don't know what the over-under was, but I'm sure it's changed now, the line on the Patriots. I would not be surprised if they win 10, 11 games. I thought even with Stidham they were going to win 9 games. And now it comes down to, I think, Cam Newton and the Patriots and Josh Allen and the Bills as the favorites for the division. Jets, I don't know. I don't know what to say about the Jets. I think they're looking at a 5-win season. And the Dolphins, I think they're going to, again, be in the same range they are last year, maybe slightly better, but they're moving in the right direction with Brian Flores. But it's going to be a 2-team race in the AFC East. And it's going to be interesting to see which team emerges there because that'll really factor big time into the playoff seeding, especially with the extra team this year and the extra wild card.
Yeah, I agree with your points. I've in the past we've had discussions. I think Josh Allen, in terms of NFL type talent, his comparable as a player is kind of like I would say like a middleman's Cam Newton for now. I think they're both very, very similar, very, very spot on comparison to each other. I think body frame, I think how they exhibit their talents on the field. They both have really big arms. Obviously Cam has had shoulder problems in recent years, and his weapons have kind of been middling during his years in Carolina, but nobody has been able to deny the talent. He's also an excellent runner. He's a great improviser. He's very, very good near the goal line, within 5 to 10 yards away in the red zone. He's very, very good at finishing off drives and finishing drives himself. And we know through the years he's been excellent. His rushing touchdown output with the Panthers was excellent. Very, very similar to Josh Allen in that regard. And I think what New England needed to do was bring in at least somebody else. And we thought it was going to be Andy Dalton months ago, and obviously Andy Dalton eventually moved out to the Cowboys. And Cam Newton's name was just kind of staying out there, was floating out there. Nobody really wanted to take the chance on Cam due to his injury history. And this screams just like a typical Bill Belichick move. He's getting the guy that he wants, who he feels he could win games with this season for 10 cents on the dollar. A lot of people were kind of scared off by Cam. He really wasn't. And I think you're going to see a rejuvenated Cam Newton. Now, it's only a 1-year deal, and for all we know, he's still, I think, a very special talent. I think injuries have started taking a toll on him a little bit, but I still think he could be a very, very good player on the field. I think what's going to happen here is it's obviously going to be a 1-year trying deal, and I think if the Patriots are impressed with what they see, I don't think that they would hesitate in giving him a contract extension next year. Whether it be 3 years, whether it be 4 years, I don't know if they'll go super long-term, but I think Belichick recognizes that he can win games with Cam, and that Cam's skill set is very, very different than he's had with Brady. So Brady, although he's been very, very good over the past couple of 3, 4, 5 seasons, obviously his mobility in the pocket has kind of been in question. he's very good at being able to dodge guys in the pocket, not really so much being able to make plays away from the pocket. Now Belichick has a guy who he can design plays with, who he can scheme his offense around with his legs, with not just his arm. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And you're going to see guys, especially like James White and Julian Edelman, benefit from Cam. Because a lot of teams are going to be bringing 6-7 guys in on the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to respect Cam's legs, and that's going to create a lot of opportunities for these smaller, sure-handed, shifty receiver guys who are very, very good in space. I think James White's going to have a huge season. I don't know if he's going to be as good as, let's say, Christian McCaffrey was. I mean, he had a special season last year. But I think James White is going to be awesome. I think this is the perfect move for him. And it's a very Belichickian move. You know, he's zagging right now and everybody's zigging. Everybody's starting to just accumulate. A lot of teams in that division have pure pocket passers, right? And so to combat what the Jets did with Darnold, what the Dolphins did with Tua, we discussed Bills and the Josh Allen. Cam may very well be the best quarterback in that division, and the Patriots got him at this time when nobody else would take a chance on him. I think it's a great move. I think it's such a smart Patriots move, and you're 100% right. The Jets are going to win 5 games. I know it. You know it. Everybody knows. Everybody knows it.
Hopefully, Adam Gase gets another year there.
Right.
But I think Cam Newton. I think they're going to do a lot of run-pass option, which makes sense. But I'm worried he's going to get injured again. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. My question for you though is, how is Newton, who is very outspoken, he's very into fashion with the post-game press conferences and whatnot. How is he going to fit into that New England Patriots, Bill Belichick culture that Bill and Tom Brady have built over the past 20 years?
Well, we have seen that I would say 80 to 90% of the times the Patriots have made a move like this, they have been able to kind of mellow out the player that they were bringing in. I think probably the best comparable to character-wise, I would say would probably be somebody like a Randy Moss. Everybody knows Cam Newton is pretty outspoken on the field, but we've seen reports this past couple of weeks come out, and a lot of Panthers players, especially the skill guys like Christian McCaffrey and Greg Olsen, who we know has moved on to a broadcasting career now a little bit, but he's always been highly regarded in NFL circles as one of the most consummate leaders and consummate professionals that exists around the league. He went out to bat for Cam, and he's basically kind of just spoken out for Cam and really solidified his character, and nobody has ever had a bad thing to say about Cam, none of his teammates anyway. So while I do think Cam is kind of like odd a little bit on social media, and who isn't these days, a lot of athletes typically generally are, because it's about brand building now, so to speak. So, but I think he'll be able to fit in with New England. I think they're for the most part, those guys in New England, Belichick and Kraft, they're able to reel in these guys, make them buy into the Patriot way. There's a reason why this team has been on top for 20 years. Obviously, they've made a couple of misses along the way. I mean, nobody's perfect, but generally speaking, they have a good track record with this. And I think Cam's work in the locker room, and I especially think his work off the field, doing lots of charity work and a lot of stuff in regard to children's charities and stuff, I think it's a good fit for New England. I think he'll be fine. And
he's obviously has tremendous shoes to fill. Not only does Tom Brady have a huge foot size, because I went to the Patriots Museum 2 years ago, and his shoe was just clear, it was tremendous, but obviously a living legend, probably the best quarterback to ever do it. And he's in Tampa Bay now, and now there's rumblings, according to Mike Lombardi, that the Buccaneers, probably led by Tom Brady on this, really would like to perhaps kick the tires on Antonio Brown, add him to an already dynamic receiving core, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a perfect fit. So we know AB can fit outside, or he can fit in the slot. Obviously, he'd be competing with Chris Godwin in that sense, because Mike Evans is more of just like a typical outside receiver. He's a big guy. He's a big target. Likes going over the top. Likes using the sideline. So we